Hey guys, HuzzyGames bringing you another video. Now, welcome back to Viewer Spectates. Now, we've not done a Viewer Spectate, truthfully, in months, and I've been meaning to get back into them, and we are. So we're watching Ace, who we have watched before, and Ace, I believe, has just been recently promoted up to Bronze, if I'm not mistaken, playing Malzahar mid. So hopefully we'll obviously see some good control, team comp wise and all that stuff. Yeah, pretty normal team comps, to be fair. Like, Warwick jungle weirdly might be the biggest thing that stands out, because like Warwick, well, even you probably see a bit less Warwick than I did a few weeks ago, but yeah, Warwick you see a lot in top lane, not jungle, but you know, he's still fundamentally a good beginner jungler. But yeah, going for a cheeky invade, wouldn't go too close, there's just no need. It's good to get initial damage on, and that's it. And yeah, we can talk about the start. So Mana Crystal. Mana Crystal isn't bad, because I would presume Ace has gone for Futures Market. Yeah, so Futures Market is a start that some Malzers do. That basically, if I think it's, you can perfectly, or near enough perfectly farm the first 2 to 3 waves. You then can base with then using Futures Market, and you can get Lost Chapter really early. And then with Lost Chapter, you can just stick in lane phase basically forever. Where you can then focus on farming, last hitting, and then bullying out the opponent, because you have that big item advantage straight away. The positive of it is, if it does go well, it can go very well. And what's actually aided Ace this game is the start of the game that Annie had. Annie went as a bit weird positioning. I'd like to see more prio on farm, considering you're doing the Sapphire Crystal start, is one thing I would say. It only is worth doing if you can go for the early base, you get the Lost Chapter, and missing farm, focusing killing Annie is not the priority right now. You're never going to kill Annie as a Malz at level 1, 2, maybe even 3. It's just not going to happen. Focusing on the farm is the prio. And yeah, like that, if the dot goes on her after you kill a minion, even better. That's one thing I will say straight away, is the way that the game started aids Ace, because the Annie went in weird positioning, got half health at straight away. But if you notice in the farm is very, very even, and that is because Ace at the moment hasn't gone for, okay, I'm going to really just focus on farming. That's what you needed to do, because considering Annie was half health straight away, you got given that advantage of basically being able to do the free farming part. So that is one area I would straight away say is focus on the, you know, it sounds weird to say, but focus on the correct play at the moment. Obviously, each game you play, each champion you play, each matchup is going to differ. Some matchups you want to play more reserved, some matchups you want to play more aggressive. Burst Blood does happen in top lane, but yeah, that is one thing. So like, that was, I think, potentially the third wave, but you're not, I don't think, at the state that you could go back and go buy the Lost Chapter. And that's because there has been a little bit lack of farm, even though that should have been the priority. So the enemy comp, I would say Malz is actually very good against the enemy comp. One Malz is not bad against... Whoa, he is just... What the hell? Drive by... Okay. So, not good that that happened. Yes, it's okay that Annie didn't get the kill, but Annie did get XP for that. 100%. I like that Ace actually had the confidence there to use an extra ability to get his dot and Q going on the minions. I like that. That's good. Annie is quite dead. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people would be like, oh, look how low Annie is. I'm going to really try it. And this is where it really just depends what champion you're playing. Malz is not in the mindset of kill Annie, and you shouldn't be. Realistically, you're not really going to go for that kill unless she's literally nearly dead. And you go for a flash dot, maybe she'll be dead. But Malz is the type of champion, and obviously I've played a lot of Malz myself. Malz is a very, you know, when I say the word control mage, that is exactly... Okay, what? So again, we are in lower ranking here. Good that Ace recognized he could get the kill. Also good that he didn't use flash. If you don't need to use it, don't use it. For Annie to be, I would imagine, nose deep looking into the shop there and not paying attention to, one, her own health bar, and two, hey, there's a Malz coming for me. yeah, I mean, as a basic advice, no matter what rating you are, use the mistakes of the enemies effectively. You know, that's one thing that people have always said. What's the difference between low and high rating? I've always said mistakes level, but also mistakes magnitude. So in low rating, mistakes happen very often, but punishment of those mistakes doesn't actually happen a lot. In high rating, the opposite happens. Mistakes happen less frequently, but when the mistake does happen, it's more game changing. That's the difference. So yeah, that's what I would say, is obviously keep that in mind. So Annie goes for a Tibbers when Ace has got his spell shield up. So does half of it, get away from the Tibbers, try to not get too low health from it. Obviously killing it. Oh my god, she let it die. So yeah, obviously we are in lower ranking here. Arguably, I've got a lot more to say about the Annie than I do Ace. Yeah, I would not use Tibbers on a target that's got their spell shield available and up and ready. So that was a bit peculiar too. And also letting the Tibbers die is quite a big mistake also. You want to keep your Tibbers alive as long as possible. So yeah, a bit odd. So I would still be semi-reserved as Ace, even though Annie has obviously got a lot less pressure now. It's just not the way you really realistically want to play Malz. You look for a nice little poke like that, and that's the opportunity you want. And yeah, back away. So that's good. You don't want to be at the enemy team's tower. There's just no need. Malz isn't the greatest tower pusher in the game. So where Malz obviously likes to be is in the middle of the lane, and then he pushes it with his quite free wave clear, lets it push, and then it comes back to him. Obviously, the risk of Malzahar, especially when you get to higher ratings, is because he kind of is an auto, I'm just going to push the lane in type of champion. In higher ratings, some people obviously can then freeze you out. It's obviously rarer in lower rating, and until you get to maybe at least gold, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Annie is pinging for assistance on Malz, so potentially there's a Nocturne gank here. I would really start backing. The moment you see Annie, I'd instantly hightail it out of there, because I would be thinking about Nocturne, but actually now you can see Nocturne is bot lane, so you don't have to be as scared now. Nocturne trying to get a kill, doesn't quite. Thresh going for a flash. Not worth for Thresh if he dies. Yes, he got the kill, but if you give an AD carry another kill, it's never really worth it, and that's what's exactly happened. So yeah, a lot of kills happening. The one really good thing, and I've got to point it out now, is even though the early game could have definitely been a lot better, or focusing on that farm, the farm's doing well. Highest farm in the game is Ace. Obviously, Malz is kind of... Oh, she did it again! Okay, he's gone for an ultimate, unfortunately, with no other abilities mixed in there. Don't think he needed to use that flash. I know, obviously, the temptation is there of I cannot die to Tibbers. I think you were pretty safe. And realistically, if Tibbers was going to kill you, it would be like when you're 50 to 100 health, then maybe flash. At the time, you were 300-400 health. I don't think you needed a flash when you did, but it's fine. I understand being a little bit more secure about it, just being safe about it. So, you know, reserve your summoners when you can. But yeah, I think potentially a kill was on Annie there if hilariously, or not hilariously, but you know, your flash, which you normally wouldn't think about, you could have flashed aggressively, used the, you know, EQ, then ulted. And if you did it very quickly, I actually think Annie probably was going to die. Especially that, you know, play to your opponent. The Annie this game is already making quite a lot of mistakes. I think we all can see that. So your confidence level should be building as you're seeing more mistakes being made by your direct lane opponent. Obviously, that doesn't mean you go uber cocky and you make mistakes in that regard. But I think it should give you a higher level of confidence than a normal game where you're being a bit reserved, especially as Malz. Malz is usually a champion. You don't look for any real big fights in the first 15-20 minutes. But against this specific Annie, I'd say you could probably end up fighting her a lot more than you normally would. And that is about adapting who, you know, how you're playing against who you're playing against. So yeah. So standard obviously laning at the moment as Malz hits the wave. You then, and this is a good thing, we're seeing now side roaming happening. Kled obviously is 6-2. That's not good. Warwick is ganking, and it could be going bad. Just wait. If Warwick waits, then Malz is on his way. Goes for a Q, and it, you know, The good thing is that, you know, yes, it kind of sucks when you go for a roam and you don't end up getting anything. But if you didn't go for that play, it'd be a lot likely that Warwick might have ended up dead or a bad situation would have occurred. Okay, so the enemy team is about. I would say semi-confidence can happen. She's waiting. Oh, really? And then ult. Oh, do you not have ult? Oh, he did. I think you could have ulted the Annie. Okay, getting over. Okay, nice. I honestly think, again, I think we actually watched a game of Ace a little while ago. And I think you were playing Nautilus at the time. And that's good. And I think one of my things I said on Nautilus that I would potentially even follow up already on Malz is pull the trigger quicker. When you were playing Nautilus, I remember there was like hook opportunities and you didn't just quite go for the hook at the right time. It was a bit delayed. So far, I would say with Malz, I would say there are those things that are happening as well. Like, boom, go for the ultimate when you can. And it just saves you those few seconds. Big double kill in bot lane, by the way. I don't know if Samira got both. Oh, no, Samira just got a double kill with both bounties on champions. That is quite bad. That gets Samira right back into this game. So yeah, that is one thing I would say is, yeah, I Am Fighter says, shoot first like Han. Yeah, shoot first like Han Solo is probably it. And that's not being overly aggressive, but a champion like Malz, where you are a playmaking champion. You know, Malz isn't a carry, he's an anti-carry. And the way that he often does that is by denying mobility of the enemy team. So do that before they can do any mobility, before they can get away or whatever it may be. And that's what I would say is just pull that trigger, especially when you had a teammate nearby. Bam, Annie's dead. Obviously, we are nitpicking here because the play still ended up good. Annie still died. Then Nocturne died. So it's not like a bad situation happened. But it's just saying, you know, you're not always going to have these situations that the game is just going really well. And I'd say it's going really well, but Samira just got a double kill in bot. Kled is 7-3. So again, don't lighten up the pedal, as it were. I do like there. That's what we're liking to see. You know, the moment you get Leandries is when it's okay, in my opinion, to start actually looking to put the dot on the Annie. Before that point, I think it's pointless. You're just wasting mana. Focus on pure farming before you get Leandries. Oh, there we go. I don't even know if you get the kill. I think you do because she's standing in it. Knows you got shield. Okay, so I would say, oh, unfortunately didn't get the kill, but I like that you did that. Because throughout, I would say, when we have watched Ace, as I've said just now earlier, there has been that lack of, I'm going to go for this play, boom, right now. So I actually really liked that we just saw that. That was good. Unfortunately, don't get the kill. Was close. I think if you may have used Q very quickly in the right moment, I think potentially. Rabid Pigeon, 24 months. Welcome to the 2-year sub club. Appreciate it, appreciate it. I hope you're doing amazing. Big fight obviously just happened, by the way, in bot lane, and it's going to end up with enemy team advantage, I think, now that Jhin just died. Obviously, you can kind of see what's going on in top lane. It's not a good situation overall. Kled is kind of stomping. And yeah, farm is doing really good. And there's a reason I played Malz for a period of time, was lack of confidence in areas. Malz is very good, I would say, and I'm not trying to say this is a negative of the champion in a way, but Malz is good at filling in holes of your own play. And what I mean by that is, if you're not amazing at farming, Malz actually makes you better at farming, because he has, especially now that he's got the execute with his dot. And secondly, he's got a spell shield. So if you're not positioning amazingly well, you're getting caught every now and then, he's also a bit more secure in that avenue. Okay, so what's the play going to be? Nice play here. We got Jhin on his way. I would potentially look for an ulti. We don't have ulti yet. Okay, we can't be careful of that bush, but that's not too bad. Nice dodge. Annie is in the area. Nearly have ult. Now ultimate is available, so you could even look for an aggressive play if you wanted to. But yeah, no, Malz is very effective in many, many ways. But the negative of Malzahar, as I said earlier, he's not a carry. He's an anti-carry. So, it's, you know, if you're playing the best on your team as Malz and all your team is feeding, you'll likely lose the game because he cannot carry, or he's not really built for it. Or 50 gold over to Ace because she lets Tibbers die. So yeah, realistically, so far this game, I've got way more advice for the Annie than I do Ace. So far in lane, the only big things I would say about Ace is, as I said, In the really early phase, definitely focus way more on farm. There's just not, especially that Annie was already half health coming into lane. There was no point giving up farm for doing poke that was probably never really gonna kill her. That's been the biggest thing I would say in lane phase. Other than that, we've seen some good farming. We've seen occasional little roams when you've pushed out the lane first. Yeah, honestly, some really nice stuff. Again, farm wise, you know, there's a very, very fed Kled in top lane. Oh, that was really close. Bonk. Let's have a look at the gold, because that would interest me. So total gold, very fed, but yeah, 6.1k. You're 2,000 gold above the Annie. And yes, you have been involved in 5 kills, one of those being a kill itself. Most of that difference is 100% farm. 100%, like most of it is just you are farming well. Kled is farming well and he's getting kills, so that's why he's so far ahead in everything. But yeah, again, farm is an area that I think most players could always improve on. It's an area that if you're not absolutely perfect, you can improve on it, right? Because farm is a lot of the time the majority of where you're making your gold in matches of League. So why would you not try to maximize that? It's my weakness, especially when I'm streaming. I'm distracted. I will miss cannons quite often. Huzzy cannon obviously is a meme. And that is bad. You know, we joke about it, but it's an area that I really shouldn't really joke about. I should be better at farming. Nocturne is fighting. Does end up with 1 kill. Now I would question why the roam top lane. Well, maybe not even now. If you actually get here to help, Warwick should be running right to you. This could be bad. Good ult timing. Lets Warwick get away, but this could be problematic. Yeah, now I would really try to get away from that Kled. I would potentially try to get the flash over here. Yeah, so I would question, again, roaming as always, and what I've always said, it shouldn't be a default. You know, Malz can roam, but he's not a roaming champion. I would question why that roam happened. Maybe you just in the moment was a bit like, you know, I have not done anything for a little while. I'm gonna go just make a play because I've not done anything. I would question every roam that you do. I would question why you're doing it, especially if you're not on a roam default champ. If you're playing Katarina, yeah, why you're roaming is because you're playing Katarina. But if you're playing not a roaming champion, every single roam should have a mission behind it. And what was the mission for that roam? Was there one? They already just killed the player in top. You know, the play was kind of over at that point, and anything beyond that was then a risk. So I would say in the moment, I don't think it was the best roam. Oh, 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 he got the dragon. Really nice that you got there at the same time, though. Good silence timing. Morgana, I think, literally just died by walking into the ult. That was odd. But when shoved in like that instead of roaming, what could he have done, you think? That's the funny thing with something like Malz, because Malz, as we've said, he's not an automatic, like, default roaming champion, but he's a default I'm going to push the lane in champion. It's going to sound really weird what I'm about to say. If there isn't a roam on, don't do anything. Like, I know that's probably because some people will be like, yeah, you don't have to roam. You don't have to go anywhere. You could, yeah, if you were really greedy, you could be like, hey, I'm going to take one of the jungle camps. You could, but then your jungler might not like you. That looked weird. You could do that. You can just stay in mid lane and just wait till the next farm arrives. Yeah, so these plays, I will say, they're a bit spicy. The enemy team has number advantage in a lot of these plays because the plays are happening too long, and that actually is giving openings for the enemy team again. It's plays that are just not necessary all the time. So yeah. But yeah, like, Sithwith just gave a good example of like this you could go do jungle camps because the, you know, your mid lane, you push in the lane, but there's not a roam opportunity. But your jungler's top lane, so they're not going to be killing this camp anytime soon. So you could go and kill that. That's not a negative even to your jungler, because by the time that your jungler actually is like, right, I've done the play top lane, I'm going to go back, I'm going to buy, then I'll do more jungle camping, it's very likely that will be back up. So you're not even really hurting your jungler at that point. So yeah, that is, doing a bit of jungle farming is not a negative. And again, I'm not even trying to say it to be crazy. Mal's is the type of champion that you could just be waiting for the next wave. You don't have to make a play in that respect. I know you want to, because making a play translates a lot of the time into winning the game, but it's just not needed 100% of the time, all the time. This is risky. Yeah. So again, what's actually happening a lot this game at the moment is blue team is throwing by constantly trying to do things and not giving themselves time to breathe. Slowing down the pace of the game, I'd actually recommend, because your comp is actually a lot slower paced comp than the enemy team. The enemy team have got Samira and Kled and even Nocturne. They are the, oh, we're going in, you know, 100 mile an hour. We are running in and making a play. Your team is a lot more slow paced, methodical. Let's get a pick here. Let's get a pick there with Jin, Morgana Q, Malz. And I think the blue team is actually playing it wrong. They're playing it as like a fighty fight comp when they're not that. So as, you know, just generic and general advice is always play to what your comp strength is. If you're a team fight comp, team fight. If you're a poke comp, poke. If you're a pick comp, like I would say this team is definitely a pick comp, look for picks. And then a bit late ulti potentially. If you had it available a bit sooner, that would have been good, because it might have saved Warwick, but it's, oh, you know, it's still fine. Thresh looking to die, going for the flash of it, and yeah, confident, he's dead. There we go. So both teams definitely making mistakes. Enemy team overstayed after they make a play. So, you know, again, we're in lower rating. We're going to see quite a lot of mistakes constantly. But yeah. Yeah, you're a pick comp. So why would blue team be considered a pick comp? Practically every champion on their team is looking for picks. So what is a pick comp, or what are picks? So a pick comp is looking for that one enemy just slightly out of position, and you pick them off really quickly. Boom, they're dead. Okay, we've now got numbers advantage. Why is blue team a pick comp? You've got a Morgana Q that just binds someone from range. You've got a Jin that if one person hits a little bit of damage, he follows up with CCing them with W. You have Malz, one of the biggest pick champions in the game, that, oh, there's an enemy out of position. I'm holding here with my ultimate. Team, get here and just kill this one person quick. You've got Warwick, who's basically the same as Malz, but he jumps at the person and does the same thing. You're a pick comp. Everything about your comp is wanting just to get one person really quickly, and then the enemy team should have less confidence moving forward because they're one person down. And yeah, even Sion to a certain extent as well. But what's happening here is you're kind of going towards the challenge of the enemy team, and then you're just having a Kled or a Nocturne or a Samira run straight into you, and that's their strength. The enemy team's strength is them kind of going, we're here, fight. That's not your strength. Alright, so you're looking for the kill Nocturne. That's nice, but obviously that does leave Samira, but she's tanking tower, of all things. Oh, you're so close. One auto from Annie does get the kill. Sion, though, might be actually able to finish a lot of these off. Sion, bomb. Oh, that's so much damage. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. Build-wise, I would say, technically, Malz is not a carry, so some people probably are fine with the build. First two items, completely fine. Boost of Lucidity, completely fine. Morello third item is very noble of you to help your team. You know, you're providing the anti-heal. I wouldn't do that when you're playing, especially the mid lane role. You know, look at Morgana's items. Morgana has also bought the anti-heal, so you've kind of bought an item you didn't need. And yeah, I would, if you do want any form of anti-heal, as especially I would say the mid laner, I would not finish that item early. I'd potentially leave it at Oblivion Orb and then finish a more a higher valued item. So like for Malz, Demonic, you know, I would say is a lot more value than going Morello. So you're waiting here because Kled is in the area, and you're hoping, I think, for Kled to walk around is what I'm guessing. So yeah, that's one thing I would say, is that's going to limit, and yes, damage isn't the highest priority as Malz, but it's still good to do. And I think buying Morello when especially your team has already got a Morello and your Morgana's got one, I think obviously it's just, I think it's just hurting your personal strength a little bit too much. So again, enemy team 100 mile an hour all the time. Really good big silence Q there, going for an ulti. I think you actually decided to go for an ulti on the Annie. not the target I'd potentially go for. Again, not, you know, as a Malz, I would prioritize the highest priority. Very nice by Jin. I'd prioritize the highest highest targets, and the Annie this game clearly is not that. She's also built Everfrost on Annie, which is just simply not a thing. So, you know, I know in the moment sometimes you're just a bit like, oh, one person, I'll CC them, and that's sometimes fine. But I would also, as Malz, you need to be very methodical and like be like, no, I'm gonna go for the priority order. The priority order clearly in this game is Kled number 1, Samira number 2, Nocta number 3 as my 1, 2, 3. So yeah. Oof, Annie overstayed, double kill Scion. So now the base is being broken into. Well done, by the way, to the Scion, because obviously the early game has gone quite poorly for him overall. But that's the craziness of Scion. I still personally do put Scion in an OP category of champion. He is insane. And yeah, no, Welsmithy, take the positive. At least you ulted in the time. You know, I'd say we're actually seeing a lot of good things here. Good decisions. Farm is still good. It has dropped off in terms of tempo a little bit, but that's fairly normal in a game of League. I'd say if you play in this way, I'd be fairly confident that you'll probably climb, you know, again, when we're in bronze area, I'd say fairly confident you'll climb. As a kind of caveat to that, you know, even for the rating we're in, the Annie has seemed quite bad. So obviously not every game you're going to have this type of Annie against you. That's kind of given you a completely free game. Especially as Malz, that, you know, you're not even having to be worried about dying. Ooh. All right. Oy, oy, oy. What is going on, lads? All right. So just, this is where your team is not being very patient. This is where, like, if you're the Malz, I would just come in and go, and ulted. And look, now we can kill him. But it's fine. I think Scion is now way too strong, to be honest. So Kled going down is very obviously high value to all of you. Jin, good use of ultimate. Thresh is getting away, just slows him down. Can't get away from me now. Thank you very much. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I think ult was used in that situation, but right just before you died, I think, to the Nocturne. And that's the kind of thing that whole play could have gone better if they just waited for you to get there and just ult the Kled. But obviously that's the thing with solo queue. There's not communication. You can't tell your team, hey, just wait for me, because Morgana just got absolutely exploded. It would be nice. Yeah, see, lack of solo queue communication. They needed to wait 1 second to kill that Baron if, you know, to give everybody Baron on your team, and they didn't wait that 1 second. Do wait that 1 second. If you know the enemy team cannot steal it, and I think at the time Nocturne might have even been dead or just spawned, wait the 1 second, you know? If it's too risky, don't, but when it is free, yeah, wait the second. It is worth it. All right, so dragon is spawning. Definitely that should be a priority, considering you're 1 dragon away from soul. So this is what I've also liked about Ace, is obviously we've not seen random side laning as Malz. We've not seen like, oh, you know, yeah, I'm gonna go top lane now. And you technically could. You've got teleport. Some mid laners would definitely kind of go, oh, I'm gonna go top, push that in, and then I can TP to help. It's just not necessary. Yeah, this Annie is at a very odd game. So big fight incoming. Boom, straight on the ulti on the Kled, exactly who he wants it to be on. And you just win the game. Bye-bye. You just win the fight easily from that. Thresh then, right at the end of the fight, a little bit lost to what to do. Nice kill for you, and there we go. So yeah, really good. I liked, obviously, the instant use of ulti, and that is also the nice thing. Some instances this game, I would be quite critical and be like, oh, you didn't use other abilities, you know, and then ultimate to get maximum DPS. There is a time and a place to use every ability, then ultimate, and that's more for, like, 1v1 duels. When it's a big fight and the Kled is joining the fight and he could end up killing people, that's a moment of like, no, just stop. And you just ult. You don't necessarily need to use other abilities. And I think we obviously did see that this game. There were different forms of the ult doing the same thing, but sometimes, no, I just need to stop you in the moment and my team can kill you. Or, oh, I actually have a bit more time here. I'll use all my abilities on you, Annie, and then ult you. And then Welsmithy says, who would I recommend for Ace in case Malz got banned of similar champion? interesting question. I'd say Malz is probably in this category the easiest and most effective champion in his class. And what I mean by that is he farms well and he has really good lockdown and like control. Champions that are similar to him, you could even say like Victor is similar and Nivea is even similar to certain respects, but they're a lot harder. They're harder to farm with and they're harder just to play in general. Cassio you could even say is quite similar in some respects. What champion would I say is similar though? Yeah, like Raven is a champion that I was thinking. Potentially Lissandra. And Lissandra, I would say, and that's the whole point. There's no point playing Lissandra over Malz, pretty much, in a similar thing. But Lissandra is positive. I'd say Lissandra might even be better against stuff like Zed or Kiana, stuff like that. But yeah, Lissandra, I'd say, is probably similar in that respect. Good at wave clear. Not for free, Malz is easier to farm than Liss, but then has that lockdown of just holding somebody like team come kill this person. Yeah, Lissandra probably is the next down from Malz, I would say. But anyway, that's gonna be it. If you're, by the way, wondering how potentially you can get one of these commentaries, if you're in the Twitch community, it's 10 gifted subs and you get added to the list. We've actually still got a few people on the list, and all you need to do is say to me, Huz, I've actually got a commentary for you right now when you're on the list, and I will make this video moving forward. We've not made any in a while because nobody on the list has kind of gone, hey Huz, I've got this video, you can record it now. So that's what I would say. If you're watching the YouTube channel, I don't know how we could make it. Obviously there is a membership program and super chat thing available, so I guess that maybe, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll have to have a think about that. But anyway, that's gonna be it. If you guys did enjoy, do throw a like on it. Hopefully you've learned something here or there. Throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime and